Marvel Legends, Spider-Man Retro Series, but not really, but actually this time really, wave. The Rose. Let's get it. What is good, my peeps? It's the Ruckus coming at you again with another action figure review. This time, you see what it is. We have got a Spider-Man Retro Wave figure, a bona fide Retro Wave figure. This is from the Spider-Man Retro Wave, but not really, aka Ben Reilly Wave. And this is the 7th and final figure. And I saved a bona fide card, a bona fide Retro Series card, to end everything up as it should be. We got two of these 90s cartoon cards, these true retro wave, vintage wave cards in this wave. We got, and they both happen to be bad guys. They both happen to be villains. You got this, the Rose, and we also had we got the Tarantula, which was also in a true retro card back. So as far as this is concerned, you see, I just got through saying it. It's the Rose, otherwise known as Richard Fisk. And if that last name rings a bell, that's because this is Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin's son. And you see the figure and you see the accessories. Strangely enough, the last figure that I'm reviewing, comes with the most accessories. A second set of hands, a pair of weapons, and a signature rose. We've got to our left artwork of the Rose holding his signature rose. And here on the rear we have the Rose on our right, some more artwork, and then on our left we have a sketch that actually has a purpose, as it shows how to apply the additional hands and the Rose itself. We also get a bio. Richard Fisk, the son of Kingpin, becomes an adversary of both his father and Spider-Man when he returns to New York as a crime boss known as the Rose. And now, taking a peek at Richard Fisk, aka the Rose, we see that he's busting the suit all white. And of course, with that comes the caveat. He is the suit jacket is an overlay. So going in, you already know what that means. Torso articulation will be impeded. So it is what that is, but it's still a pretty nice look. As you can see, he's all white with the exception of that tie and his gloves. And of course, he's got the Rose there and the ski mask and goggles to play the hoodie role. So you see what he's got going on right there. Looks pretty nice though, can't front. And but other than that, I mean, you're not going to have much going on. The shoes, he's rocking those Stacey Adams, it looks like. So there we go. Nothing going on in the back. But like I said, he's got this overlay. You can see, kind of sort of see under there. And it's totally together. So that's going to impede leg movement straight up. We'll take a measurement real quick of his height to finish off this this wave. I was pretty good, pretty consistent. Like, I've taken the height of every figure. That's unheard of for Ruckus. Clowning myself. Got to have some fun with it, right? Anyway, the Rose is coming in at about 6¼ inches tall. And that articulation we were talking about, is it goes a little something like this. His head is on a ball hinge, so he can look up that much, decent. Look down that much, also decent. Get very little pivot. He can, of course, 360 it. The shoulders, you can get it to 90, but I suggest you try to tuck it in underneath the overlay in order to achieve that 90. And then you can 360 it. He's got the swiveling biceps. double jointed pinless elbows. Gotta love that. He's got rotating wrists and horizontal hinge on both sides with the hands, his fists that he comes out of package with. And now for the fun part, the torso. He's got something in there, and trying to figure out what it is. I think it's an ab crunch. You're going to get nothing going forward because of that overlay jacket going back. I can feel it in there. That's about as far back as you're going to go. And I'm trying to see. Yeah, it's ab crunch, and I believe he's got waist swivel in there too. It's hard to tell. And now it continues with the hips. You're not going to get anything because of the overlay. That's as far you can get them spread. And then going forward, that's as far as you're going to get forward. You could force it a little bit more, but that's not going to help because it's going to end up snapping back. And the same thing with going back. He does have a thigh cut in there, and he's got double jointed pinless knees. So we know we've got the pinless action going, so that's a plus. In terms of his feet, he can point his toe that far and up. You're going to get nothing because the pants at the bottom impede going up. He's got ankle pivot, and he's got holes, peg holes at the bottom of his feet. Rose came with an extra set of hands. On his left, he has a pointer, so he can direct his thugs to attack Spider-Man or Fisk's, his father's thugs. And for his right hand, he comes with a trigger finger hand, which is curious that he only comes with one trigger finger hand, because as you saw in our opener, he comes with two pistols. So he can't brandish them both at the same time. Very, very weird, and he doesn't have anywhere to store the second one. Oh well, I'm just happy that we got two pistols. We've seen these before too, especially this one with the short handle. This second one with the extended magazine. I'm sure we've seen this before too, but I just can't recall where. And here he is brandishing one of his weapons, and it should be noted that this trigger finger hand has the vertical hinge, so that should help with aiming in some more dynamic gun wielding poses. And if you want him holding the rose, you only have that right trigger finger hand, and because of the stems coming from the rose, you're going to have to find a way to get it in there. Be wary though, because the petals, they spin around on the green stem, so it feels like it wants to snap off. So be very careful when you apply that. Here's our like father, like son pose, as we've got his dad, Wilson, aka the Kingpin. And of course, we've got to have the rose compared with his nemesis, his other nemesis besides his pop. And I figured I'd use the retro-carded, cel-shaded Spidey, since that is based on the cartoon, just like this rose is. And so, to close this review out, as well as closing out this entire wave, 7 up, 7 down, the Spider-Man retro but not really wave, aka the Ben Reilly wave, is, well, let's start off with Rose. He has to get his flowers, no pun intended, before we get into the wave itself. Nice to have another figure, another character to add to the collection. Always love that. We got another gangster, so that's pretty cool. The because of the design with the suit and the way how Hasbro does things with the overlay when it comes to suit jackets and things of that nature, the articulation as far as the torso is concerned and the hips leave a lot to be desired. We did get pinless legs and pinless arms, so the elbows and the knees are fine. And with the suit, it looks nice and seamless. So that's a good thing. The design is great. I love the head sculpt with the purple mask and the visors. It's pretty cool. So that's cool. We got the rose out of everybody here came with the most accessories, with 2 weapons, a set of hands, and the rose. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but in this day and age with Marvel Legends, that is a handful, which is unfortunate to say, but it is what it is. As far as the wave goes, this was a pretty nice wave. I'm still tripping over how the majority of the figures in this wave were blazing black and red. That seemed to have been the motif for the wave for the most part, as 5 out of the 7 figures are dressed in black and red. Tarantula being the one that had to stand out because he's got a blue mask, which I still stand by my original assessment. It should be black, or at the very least dark, royal blue or something like that. But still, in all, I'm pretty happy with this wave. I think technically Hasbro copped out by putting it on cards. I think they didn't want us to get a Build-A-Figure. This should have been a regular wave with a Build-A-Figure. I'm not going to go into what the Build-A-Figure could have been, because it could have been several things, but that's neither here nor there. Since they put it on card, I still think that was some kind of cop-out. But it is what it is. In terms of the figures, the characters that we got in this wave, from our left to our right, we have got the aforementioned Tarantula. Behind him, we have Ben Reilly as Chasm. Then, of course, there is the Rose, who we just reviewed today. And behind the Rose and off to his left, our right, we've got Miles Morales, who is also blazing an overlay. And then to his left, there's Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman. And then in front of them both, we have Elektra Natchios as Daredevil. And right there up front, we have he who I've named the wave after, Ben Reilly, in his latest iteration as Spider-Man, before he became Chasm. In terms of my ratings of these 7 figures, it's going to go a little something like this. Bringing up the rear is going to be Miles, simply because, I'm not really feeling that costume. It is basically dedicated and accurate to the source material, so there's no shade on Hasbro. It's just, I would have liked the costume that he's currently wearing. That'd have been cool. So yeah, that's coming in at 7. Coming in at 6 would be the Tarantula. The Tarantula's on the Sunfire Buck. That's not really an issue. That's pretty cool. It's all right, because it's still a serviceable buck. The whole mask thing is it grates on my nerves. I've mentioned it several times, so there's no hiding it that it gets on my nerves. So that's number 6. Number 5 would be, I'm going to put the Rose at number 5. New character, I love that, but because of that, the lack of articulation, because of the overlay on his jacket, it gets knocked down a peg or 2, despite the fact that it comes in with the most accessories. So I put him right there at number 5. Number 4, I'll give it to Chasm, simply because I love the design and the color. That's really about the size of it. He came with basically just those energy effects as his accessories, which is that's just, that's no bueno right there. So there's that. That was number 4, right? So now we've got the top 3. The top 3 are going to be, I'm going to give the top 3. We're talking about Jessica Drew coming in at 3. I love the costume. She's got the double jointed pinless arms, and that design, the red and the webbing just make her arms look so buff to me. And she's, even though the legs are pinned, they are the thicker legs, so that's pretty cool. Plus I love the costume just on its own. Coming in at number 2 is Ben Reilly, Spider-Man. He's on the Renew Your Vows buck, so you can't go wrong with that. And the only reason he's coming in number 2 is because I'm in love with that Elektra figure as Daredevil. Um, we're going to get Daredevil as he is portrayed currently. So I'm excited about that, and then we'll be able to put those two together when that happens. That should happen in the next few months. We get that Daredevil. So yeah, that's how we round that out. There's no Build-A-Figure, so that means I don't have to include the Build-A-Figure in that rating right there. So that's how that's going to go down. I wish we had gotten a Build-A-Figure. Hopefully next time, Hasbro, you won't try to cheap out on us, and we'll get a 7-figure wave, and we'll get a Build-A-Figure, because let's keep it real. That's how it's done.